Hi everyone, thanks for joining. I think the last session we started the API integrations, right? So now today we are aiming to complete all of the topics related to architecting the API integration in Azure. I think probably I want to give you some recap and then we can jump on to the pending topics. So from the exam perspective, you need to understand in any services in Azure, like what is this service, why it is used, and where we can use it. What are the options are available? This is what pretty much in every service you will be aiming to learn, right? So from this API perspective, first we need some sort of API. Last session we created some serverless session and actual app service session. Today I'm going to just to demonstrate similar thing, because that will be reused in all of the session. Instead of creating in each topic, creating a new API, I'm going to use the first API created. And then once you have the API as a normal code behind, right? So there is a URL you call that is going to respond to your response, like the REST API or so if it is going to be a API that is going to respond to you, and that API you need to put it into some API gateway manager that will manage your workloads from security perspective, or configuration perspective, or access layer, or protecting your APIs, or performance related like caching. All of these are important. So we are going to see one by one. I think the first hosting, publishing, last week we gone through, but I'm just going to continue from there so that you have the continuation. Wherever you have a question, please stop me there. Again, some things which I want to explain to you guys. So like this one, the API manager I try to create in develop. I think what this API manager I try to create in developer instance, which is taken like nearly 1 hour. So I created before 9 o'clock. It ends in 9:54, and then the same time I created another one in the consumption plan, which created immediately. Then I realized this is because of the consumption plans are serverless, right? So consumptions are always serverless, like Azure function. So when you try to create a API manager in serverless, it is creating instantly, but whereas in other areas it takes 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 60 minutes. So next time when you're trying to create, I think this will be something you need to remember. And yeah, so first thing, as I mentioned, I created a, where is it? Okay, so hope you can see my screen. In the Azure Cloud Shell, I have run a Git package, which is contains some of the, okay. Here you can see Git clone from the GitHub. I have taken some sample, which gives me API.
Karthik,
Yeah,
screen is not visible, Karthik.
that's what I was trying to. What something happened? Okay.
Yeah, now it's
Okay.
visible.
Okay. So now you can see here in the Azure Cloud Shell from the Microsoft article, I have collected some sample GitHub code where you can see here, like this is creating a API, and the API is stored in one of the app service. So if I go to here, this is the app service hosted for this sample, which contains a inventory and product get methods. And this too we are going to use it for the sample. And when I go into consumption plan, I think this is one developer model. I think I'll show both. This one is the developer instance. The reason I want to create a developer instance is the portal overview. So when I click the portal, where you can see if you have more than one APIs, if you want to publish it for your developer to start consuming, you can publish via developer portal. This is what we were trying to show last week, which is still loading. So we will skip this. I am still continue using the consumption plan. So I go to API manager where I have this. This is the consumption plan. You can see this is still trying to activating. So in this consumption plan API, so as I mentioned, we have multiple way to create APIs, blank API or serverless or logic app. So today we are going to take the open API, the Swagger URL. So from when I deploy this code, it comes with the Swagger URL which I copied. I think from here, if I show you, that will be helpful. Okay. So when I deploy that code app service, it gives me a URL and the JSON URL, which I taken from here, and then I publish it into Azure portal here. Like here, I can select my Swagger URL like this, and then this will automatically takes my display name, and then I create it, which I can show you here. This is the one I deployed. So once you deployed, you select one of the method. Currently, it shows the response 200. Okay. If you want to test it, you go to the test and provide some sample ID I send, which is going to respond my details. While this is happening, it's open. So we previously created some API service which we published in the API. We created one API gateway manager in the consumption plan, and then we imported the URL and published the URL. This is how you add it, and then you can see all of the get method available. And when you try to test it, it gives you the result. In this result, some of the things you can see in the header message. Lots of information available. Along with that, your the query you made, this is the end result of that value. So apart from this, now we are going to check the performance configuration of the cache policies. So normally cache policies, I hope you guys are familiar with the cache policies, right? In the in real time, when some service you are consuming, you are making a call to some service, it is returning values. So those values are, if it is not changed again and again, then you can take it from your cache, from that particular service. If you have the cache functionality, it, it will just first time it will take the data from the backend system and put it in the cache, and from the cache it will service to you. This will improve your performance. In case the data is changed, then it will try to get the next data. What if we have some service published on a daily basis, and that is consumed by various people, and all the people are going to use the same type of data, and the data is not changed? Then you need to have some sort of a caching mechanism, so that you don't need to make a call to your backend system. So here, what we are going to do, we are going to check some of the functionality here. So if I go back to the home, so normally, like when you're trying to create a cache in Azure, what are the services available? When I go into database, where you can see Azure Cache for a dish, when you click this, you can create a cache instance. I try to create one because it takes a longer time. So let me tell you what I have done to come to this stage. So simply, I provided the resource subscription name, resource group, which is my API consumption plan, and then I gave some DNS entry name, and that gives me, and then the location. Cache type is standard C1. That is what I selected. Once I clicked create, it takes some time to create, and then I got this cache policy. Sorry, Azure Redis cache. So now I go to the resource. So similar to any other Azure services, in the left pan you have lots of functionality which you can consume in the application. So here main thing for today is because we are created external cache and we are going to use it in the Azure API gateway. The reason for external cache is because this is a consumption plan. It doesn't have any inbuilt caching mechanism. We need to create external one so that we can configure that. So here we have a basic Azure Cache services created. I need to get my access key from here. So there is in the previously sufficient key we taken for API, right? Similar way, you can create get the access key of this particular Azure Cache service. In this case, I'm going to copy this in the clipboard. Then I go to my Azure service, which is MK. Yep. So I go to here, and then within my API management service, API gateway, you can check here. If you scroll down, you can see deployment plus infrastructure, where you have an external cache option. So when you click this external cache option, you can see add option here available. When you click, it asks you to select your cache instance name. In this one, I'm going to say custom, and then use from the location we normally store all of our services, which is UK South, and then provide this is a description, demo cache, and then I need to provide the connection string copied from there. This I think I need to have a full one. Let me give me a minute whether I copied the one is correct. Yeah, I think the connection strings is I need, which is okay. I think I go back to my cache. Okay, I need to get this connection string of the cache, which is the full URL. I select here. Go back to my external cache. Select custom south. So connection string with the full URL I selected here, and then I click save. So now I have taken my Azure Redis cache connection string, which I configured in my API management service. And then now I'm going to my APIs to tell my APIs to use this particular cache. So I go to my API. This is the Northwind shoe products we created. Here I'm going to design where I have my policies here. In this one, I'm going to select my Redis cache policy. So if I go to the inbound processing, and then I can add a policy here. When you select here, there should be a option here, cache response, and then I select the cache response. Okay, so here I'm going to provide some duration of this cache is normal 600 seconds, and then click save. So now you can see the cache configuration is done, and then I go to the yeah. So within this design in inbound processing, I'm going to check here the configuration we had at here, like 600 second. So the configuration is created, and then the cache store inbound. So this is 600 second. I think I need to look for another one called cache second. Sorry about that. I think inbound processing. Look up. Yeah. So cache store, and this is the entry we added 600 second, which you can see, and then also cache lookup, which also says to use the cache service. We have the policies created now, and we save this, and now we will just simply test how the caches works. So I go to my test and provide some number 5, send. So the value we received it. I think the timing they has to test it, like from what time you collected this data. So it shows in the GMT, right? 10:19, which is 11:19 here. So this data again, if I send it, 42. So basically the result launch time. There is option to test this, like how the caches works. If when you're running this API query, the query will respond the result, right? The result will not change, and that can be done by the timing. I don't know whether this timing I need to check it, or I'm missing something. Okay, so HTTP response previous time. So this keep changing. This is the date and expire, but where is the timing? Okay, it shows no cache. Anyone familiar? So basically, this response, I'm trying to find it whether it is making a real-time call or it is coming from cache. I think the external cache we enabled here, we created, and then this cache is on the API gateway layer, and then in the API manager, we go to this and design inbound policy we created. Let me pause this video for a minute. Thank you. We will just explore that and come back to you how we can test it. But as we added here external cache and then we enabled on the API level, individual operations, you can go to the inbound processing and you can enable policy. It has a multiple option. One of the option you can select the cache response, which we have given 600 second, and save. We already select entered here. When you go there, that you can see the inbound cache seconds are configured here. So the testing of that, we will explore that later. So apart from this, we just need to, then we have a couple of new topics, which is protecting API and controlling authentication. So protecting API, again, it's going to be like any information mentioned in the header, you will have to mask it. Where how this can be done, like whenever you try to create some um, pol policies, again, if you go to this APIs, and then the one we selected, and I'm going to be this operation. So here when we tested, it responded the header value, right? So when I say test, probably we'll try some sample. So this comes with some powered by ASP.NET information. In case if I wanted to hide this header from the header, then I go to my outbound settings, outbound processing, and then you just say policies here, where you can add an outbound tag, which is this. Outbound cache duration. For now, I'll just say this header. where I'm saying like this particular header, I want to hide it. What happened? Okay, I think I need to keep the remaining Discord. So base. No. Voice. Yeah. So we added that text. It should be okay. So this particular powered by information we are trying to hide from the header. Hopefully this it should work. Yes. So now you can see the header information we hided. Previously the tag of hex powered by information was saying. So similar is one of the example how you can secure um, your API response in the header. This is one example, and another one. If you wanted to mask your URL, that's also you can try. Probably like I will try again that. So the when we are checking this, it gives us the URL in the response. I think in the response we don't have the full URL, but in case if you have any response URL, if you want to mask it, again you can go to the same one in the design outbound policies, where you can select your outbound policies. Below the header name, we can just add this URL, redirect content URL. This what this will do, this will try to hide any of the original URL you published via your API. So when you're trying to check it, so in case if you are responding any URL here, that URL will be masked with the reverse engineering so that the end users will not know the direct URL of your functionality. So if I go back to the same design, I'll just remove that. Because in this particular API, I don't have the full URL response. So that's why I couldn't test it. Otherwise, there is another demo where you can create another API which will respond to the result by adding that outbound policies, processing policies in that particular tag, redirecting -content -URLs that will actually mask that URL. So that is another way to secure your API. So going back to the topic here, so we removing header, masking URL options we have explored. There are multiple way to do this, but the things which we need to learn today is, okay, in this API manager, you have a settings. When you go into design and where you have inbound processing, backend, outbound processing, just explore, click and see what are the options are there, which one will be used for your particular scenario. That will give you the answer for your set of requirements. And then a couple of other two items you want to see, which is controlling your authentication by subscription key or a client certificate. What does this mean? Previously we saw that, right? For particular here you can see the subscription you can add, and this subscription you can assign to a particular API, and then you can grant this subscription to some third party so that they can access this API using this subscription, so that you know whom is using this particular subscription, and that is securely they are authenticating, right? And similar way, the client certificates are also interesting one. What that will do, like normally we don't have the setup today, but I can explain the process. When somebody has a certificate, that certificate we need to import it into our system, and in anyone coming with that certificate or authorized users. That is what normally we say client side certificate. that certificate has to be there in your system, and the same has to be accepted by our API. So because we don't have that setup today, but at least I will show you the settings where we exactly make that change. So again, you go to your API, select, and then probably like you go to the design inbound processing. When you go to this inbound processing, where when you selected the inbound processing, inbound method here, right? So if I replace this with set of, I'm not going to replace, but I'll copy the setting. Assuming I have a certificate which has the information. So these are the certificate details, client side certificate, and the thumbprint. And if I copy, and if I mention here, this is my inbound role, where someone comes with this particular certificate information, they are authorized, otherwise they are invalid certificate. So this, if you have a client side certificate, you need to import that into a system and mention that thumbprint URL details here. This will enable you to securely communicate with your third party. If any third party is trying to access, if they are coming with that particular certificate, they are authorized to access. Hope you are able to visualize that. In case anybody has issues to understand, please let me know. Silence means hope you guys are understand.
Certificate understood, but only thing is that you said import it, Karthik. That's where I'm just thinking. Where did you import the certificate for the
So the import is in the,
API?
yeah, the import is what we have done here as we configure the what do you call it, the, where is it? Here, when you get that certificate, the certificate comes with the thumbprint. So that thumbprint information is the one you are mentioning here. So you have to run that certificate to get the key of that thumbprint. So how you did that, you just visualize how you did this substitution key, right? So you get the key of this, add a substitution, and then when you are creating a key, the key is the one given to the third party to access, right? The same way, they provide their client certification thumbprint. That thumbprint we are configuring the XML configuration of our API inbound processing, and that is the method to invoke that. So here, if I just add my thumbprint, so this is going to validate that.
Okay, no, I understood. Yeah, this is to access that certificate, that service.
Yeah, that's correct. Session is going to end in 1 minute. In case anybody have a question, please rejoin and we'll continue the questions. Anybody have any questions?
Sure.